Ma'at Haru, Ya Allah Hotep Haru, Ya Allah Haru, Ya Allah Ma'at Herakuti, Ya Allah Awajet Shajuti, Ya Allah Per Im Sutek Per Im Haru, Ya Allah Bamaduti, El Hesed Shepesh Ray Atu Ali. Amen. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. And that's the say Morris Canon transliteration. O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. The Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my guide. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet. O Allah, through Ali. Amen. Holy Issa, Holy Issa, Holy Issa. Now let us come forth to you with our divine constitution of Moorish America, the 7 supreme constitutional acts of law, salvation, our God, in unity. Act 1. The Grand Chief and the Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negro, colored folk, black people, or Ethiopian, because these names were given to slave owners in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Prophet Noble Jew Ali, peace and blessings unto him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. And now that this meeting has been opened, according to Act 2 of our divine constitution of Moorish America, with love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, we say Islam, Islam, Islamism. Peace and love, fam. Called back to the floor, Dr. Markham Edwards Bay. Islam, Islam.
Islam and gratitude. National Assistant Grand Chief, Dr. Kuhuru Day for the opening of our meeting according to law. Islam, Islam, Islam. I'm Divine Minister Dr. Marvin Edwards Day, Consul General of the Texas Territory, rising, giving all praise for the great God Allah, the Father of the universe, and giving highest honors to his prophet, our prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give high honors to our Moorish American government, our Act 1, and all of our officials and citizens of the Moorish American government, and everything that is Moorish, and that's everything that the prophet brought to save us as a nation of people, so that fallen humanity may be saved from the wrath of Allah. I will be reading the chapter of the week, chapter 43. Which is holy instructions and warnings for all young men. And I will begin. Beware, young men, beware of the allurement of wantonness, and let not the harlot tempt thee to excess in her delight. The madness of desire shall defeat its own pursuit. From the blindness of its rage, thou shalt rush upon destruction. Therefore, give not up to thy Therefore, give not up thy heart to her sweet enticement, neither suffer thy soul to be enslaved by her destruction. Getting eyes splitting up the sentences. Therefore, give not up thy heart to her sweet enticement, neither suffer thy soul to be enslaved by her enchanting delusions. The fountain of youth, the fountain of health, which must supply the stream of pleasure, shall quickly be dried up, and every spring of joy shall be exhausted. In the prime of thy life, old age shall overtake thee. The sun shall decline in the morning of thy days. But when virtue and modesty enlighten her charm, the luster of a beautiful woman is brighter than the stars of heaven, and the influence of her power, it is in vain to resist. The whiteness of her bosom transcended the lily. Her smile is more delicious than a garden of roses. The innocence of her eyes is like that of the turtle. Simplicity and truth dwell in her heart. The kisses of her mouth are sweeter than honey. The perfumes of Arabia breathe from her lips. Shut not thy bosom to the tenderness of love. The purity of its flame shall ennoble thy heart and soften it to receive the fairest impression. Islam, Islam, Islam. Today's date is January 9th, 2026. We give honors to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh, Morris America, Dr. Oku Haru Tehuri Bey, for the opening of the meeting according to law. And honestly, Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey, for the reading of our subject chapter of the week, chapter 43. And at this time, we're going to, well, first of all, our host for tonight's class is our National Grand Seeker, Morris America, Dr. Shedua Mentiel Mohedi Septuel. The subject, I was given a high name over there, but you can't use it over here. Be good, Morris, and I'll hand it down to you. And at this time, we will call to the floor our host, the National Grand Seeker, Morris America, Dr. Shedua Mentiel Mohedi Septuel. Islam.
Muted. Unmuted.
Islam, can you hear me, Grandman?
Me?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, sir. I hear you.
Okay, gratitude. Praise be to Allah, Islam. But let us rise upon the seven within the unbroken circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to exhume us as a nation. I want to welcome you to another Moorish Prospectus. I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Mohadi Shabazil, and my ancient Comedian high name being the same as Dr. Shedua Mentiel Mohedi Shepsuel. And we most definitely have a powerful droid to bring on the manifest, Moorish kin, upon the cusp of the celebration of our Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali's Manifestation Day. You know, as it came forward yesterday, and we are segueing into the essence of a grand celebration throughout this whole week. So this is a powerful measure, a very powerful measure, family. And we will be demonstrating, you know, that which is, you know, a high degree of unfoldment. This is a powerful drawing that we have to bring forth. Our subject title for tonight, you know, is Prophet Noble Drew Ali was given a high name in the East. Again, that is Prophet Noble Drew Ali was given a high name in the East. And we have a powerful demonstration, Moorish kin, to give to our family. It's going to make plain a lot of different measures. And also, you're going to get some things you probably didn't know and some things that you also already knew. You know, so be sure to have your paper and your pen on handy. You know, pay attention to what it is that we bringing forth. We are blessed as a people, Moors. That's what we really want to say. You know, our drawing that we have is inspired by a statement that our Holy Prophet made. And if you know that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was truly a prophet, and you understand also that he had oral statements that he left behind, you know, and in regards to dealing with that compilation, so to speak, of oral statements, the prophet state many things. He said many things in relation to dealing with so many different aspects we see as prophecies, how they have unfolded, and we give honors to our family for opening up the way with the beautiful wisdom and the lessons that our prophet brought us, our National Assistant Grand Sheik and Brother Marvin Edwards Bay. All of those things in spirit come from the prophet. Even the unfoldment of the wisdom that we have. Family, y'all really want to share this particular demonstration. You want to share it, and you want to make sure that our family get this drawing. This is not something that you want to miss. As you can see, if you are paying attention on the screen here, you can see, the prophet's statement flowing across as a banner on the bottom of the screen. And he stated, I was given a high name over there. He said, you cannot use it over here. Be good Moors, and I will hand it down to you. Now, either we are going to call our holy prophet a liar, which we would never do, or either we accept his word as he stated. You see? So the question is who do you believe? Your lying ears? Or what the prophet himself said? Because you can't accept the oral statements of the prophet or his literature and then at the same token reject that same literature, cherry pick through it and make things be as you want them to be. So this is the basis of what we're getting ready to bring here. And this is very important, that our people have this knowledge. When it comes to the historicity of prophetic lineage, we find, stories in the Piscean records and Quran, and we find that prophets went, into various places, as we are told. We hear about Moses, being in the realm of Mount Sinai and a couple of mountains, actually, Mount Moriah. You got Elijah on the Mount of, Olives, Yehoshua, being in the same area, and, prophets being in all these areas. And we believe this because it has been revealed scripture. Yet when it comes to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, someone we know for surety that he was on the manifest in this new era in time, a lot of our people would like to deny Prophet Noble Drew Ali his Hajj. And that's very disrespectful. And these are not people that are outside, per se, of the ranks. These are people that claim to be Moorish Americans that will actually deny Prophet Noble Drew Ali his Hajj. As if, it was impossible for him to travel, into the Holy Land. People don't want to believe it. But my key is if he said it. Again, if you're a Moorish American Muslim and it's in these oral statements that we have, his hadiths and prophecies, if you are going against the statement that he made, then you need to check your Moorish credentials. I don't care if you say you in the Moorish American government, you say you Moorish Science Temple, or you calling yourself Moorish anything. If you have doubt that the prophet went to the east, like he say he did, you got to check yourself. Now, we're going to bring some proofs out to you, and we're going to shed light on a couple of more things that our people keep wrangling with. Remember, the prophet said, I was given a high name over there. You cannot use it over here. Be good Moors, and I will hand it down to you. You see, actually, he said, but let me straighten this out in the banner. But you cannot use it over here. You see? Let me put that in there. So we want this demonstration made plain and clear. I didn't say that. That's what was left behind, in the oral statements of the prophet. I'm just quoting it. Now, what I am going to do is make the matter plain and clear. And we're going to give y'all something that we wasn't able to give y'all in the presentation we demonstrated, when we was clearing up, the prophet's name in relation to dealing with, Professor Drew, the Egyptian adept. You see? So we're going to let you see what was stated in regards to dealing with this. So what I'm going to do, first and foremost, I'm going to share my screen for those who are able to see what we demonstrate. Let me share my screen. Yeah, we're going to share the entire screen. Make sure you get it. Okay. So we're going to go here. And I'm going to send this PDF out to anybody that requested. Again, this is featured, and all credits given to the Egyptian Adeptus Research Sultanate session. That is not just myself, but a collective, of scribes, adept scribes, to be exact, and we touched on some of this recently. Y'all already seen the picture where we, had a prophet up here showing him in Kemet, so we ain't gonna go through all of that. You already know we run down to y'all that a lot of this wisdom represent the fact that we are, keepers of the wisdom of the Ansoretic mysteries of the Hashemite Moors of ancient Asia, which is a unified mystery stream of knowledge. And this comes from our holy prophet. You see, the Kemetic line, the Hashemite lineage, the Ansoretic brotherhood, dealing with a lot of the esoteric and, reincarnation aspects, the secret rites of initiation, and all that the prophet basically went through. We are keepers of that wisdom. The Moors of Asia Major, as it relates to dealing with the law of the land, air, and the water. See, we Moors deal with everything from a triune expression. Symbolically, we build a temple of perfected man, as it relates to the temples that one uses. Also, we utilize the drawing when we get into the sea as we build ships, with our tools. But on another measure, we get deeper because we actually build celestially upon both of these special measures. The temple of perfected man, celestial, and our ship, celestial. We utilize our tool in the workshop of the mind where thought is used to build character above the net. A unified mystery stream. This is dealing with Tawheed, divine unity, a sovereign nation of God, eternal gnosis. And we know our Moorish Holy Quran speaks to us of gnosis. But with this wisdom, you don't just get the information. Most of the time, if you are being raised by an adept, by the time you finish, you got a high name. We seen it with Joseph, or Yusuf, Asaf, according to the Kemetic teaching. If you go into the Piscean records, he was given the name Zephanith-Peneth. And we found out upon investigation that this name Zephanith-Peneth in the Piscean records is actually Kemetically Sefek Pankar, which you will see in our adept seal that we often display to you. In fact, you can see it right there written faintly if you're looking at the screen on the brothers there. You know, in other words, Sefek Pankar means the seventh adept degree. It means prophet, he who knows the mysteries. So this is how Holy Prophet received his title of prophet. You know, in Kemet, they had what you call the first prophet of Amun, the second prophet of Amun, you know. So yes, the title prophet had a grander degree of unfoldment when we get into the Kemetic mysteries. That's a whole nother measure. The main thing is that when one receives their degree of unfoldment, the highest degree of attainment, you know, under the priesthood, you know, they would receive a high name, a mystic name, so to speak. We hear in our Moorish Holy Quran about the mystic name and mystic number. So once you understand this, then you understand why he stated he was given a high name over there. How do we know that this high name over there wasn't referring to anything in regards to dealing with his name here? Because we already know the name Noble Drew Ali. It was in the questionnaire. So we know that wouldn't be his high name. That is the affiliation and the epithet, so to speak, that he is known by over here. Noble Drew Ali. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We see that in our 101s and the 102s and throughout all the literature. So we know that that wasn't the name that he was talking about passing down to them. If he said it can't be used over here, it's a reason that he said it. Now, there's also a title that refers to our prophet, you know, and just as it states in the Moorish questionnaire, it talks about, you know, the name of the first man. It can't even be used except by those who are executive rulers of the adept chamber. When it states this and it says that it can't be used, it's actually speaking of the powers of the name. See, the prophet had power, a saving power, in his high name. Just like the name, for example, you know, Emmanuel. You know, that's a high name that was given to Yahushua. Outside of the name people commonly know him by, they know him by Jesus or Yeshua or Isa, if you're dealing with the Grand Quran. But when you go into, again, this high name, when he say I was given a high name over there, but you cannot use it over here, but be good Moors, and I will hand it down to you. You know, in other words, those who receive this name would be good Moors, and they would be those who were actually made adepts by the prophet himself. So when you see Moors running around here in various different groups and temples, and they say that the high name that was given is not the high name, it is because they didn't come through the lineage of the prophet, so they wouldn't know the name. Kirkman Bey wasn't no adept. With all due respect, we ain't taking no shots at nobody, so he wouldn't know the name. The Moors that bucked against the prophet wouldn't have been good Moors, so they wouldn't know the name. Our beloved brother, you know, Supreme Grand Sheikh Emilia, when he passed away, you know, he wouldn't even appoint no more sheiks. He was just dealing with the business side of the organization, so to speak. So he didn't pass the name on to anybody else after he was betrayed and overthrown. So even those who say they come through the lineage, they wouldn't have this high name. He had it, but he didn't get a chance to pass it down. Because by the time the prophet had left the body, they was already out there trying to tell, you know, what the prophet had established. Destroy this temple in 3 days, and I guarantee you I rebuild it. You see, there was a first schism that took place in Newark, New Jersey with the unconscious Moors. We're going to get into some of that. And there was a second schism. You see? And only this third day represent the phase where we at now, where we are unfolding into the supreme laws of the prophet. So we are now rebuilding, the temple of perfected man from ruins. And we too receive high names after the work that we have demonstrated. You see? So let us go on, because we want to make sure our people get this. First and foremost, we want to establish this. And we went over this already, but we're going to cover this just for good measure. Prophet Noble Drew Ali also stated in his oral statements, I took the cover off all secret organizations. This statement alone proves Noble Drew Ali was not a Freemason. We want to establish that from the beginning. Because some people get to thinking, that the prophet was Masonic, and all this type of stuff here. So we're going to kill that noise from the beginning. And we're not saying this to attack any organization or these other people that we speaking of, these, groups. We just telling you what Prophet Noble Drew Ali was. In this PDF right here, I proved that. We're going to send it out to y'all so y'all can have it on your own. Whoever requested, But we want to make ourselves plain. I ain't going to go through this whole demonstration, but there is a portion in here. I want to give honors to also to, the celebration in this opening of my grand seed, born on the same day as our holy prophet. Praise be to Allah. That in itself inspires me to pour everything that I know into him. But yeah, we already established, like in this information here, the census information, showing that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was absent 10 years according to the census information here. We ain't gonna go into that. You can go and look at the other video. We showed pictures of, brothers that are actually outside, silent brotherhood, those who are outside of the entrance to the Great Pyramid of Giza. We showed different adepts that were initiated, like Haji Ali and Hamid Bey, but they were initiated after Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Both of them were from Kemet. So we ain't going through all of that. We got pictures or whatever, showing him over there, in the East. This is, I always tell brothers and sisters about this picture. Her older sister gave this picture to me through her grandson, and she say this is Prophet Noble Drew Ali in Egypt. Powerful demonstration. But I did my research, and I found out, because a lot of people don't know, these are what they call dragnet men here. They escort tourists, throughout the land. And we seen a picture, right here. Brother fezzed up, spot on when it comes to dealing with the prophet. At the same time, we find that group of men up there that's sitting in that pyramid. That is my measure that I propose. A lot of people got a lot of blurred pictures and all this here, but all these images that I put up here, and they got blurred pictures that been passing around for years. You can't even see the features on it, but they running around here talking about that's the prophet. But when you look at the pictures that I got, this one right here got a little blur to it when you blow it up, but you can see the image. But the main thing is the attire that they have on. Like I always point out, that's the same attire that you see some of the Moors wearing today. The Moorish vest, and that actually represented a group of the Sahelian brothers. But there's some information in this document that I never touched on in this presentation here. The prophet was referred to as Professor Drew and Dr. Drew and all of that right there. I want to point something out because, you know, when you see this little calling card here and the prophet is referred to as, you know, the Egyptian adept student, you got some people running around here hollering he was a student of Dr. Hamed Suleiman, who was a Shriner and a Mason. That's a lie too. And we done already proved that a lot of the articles that they got concerning that information actually lead back to myself. Because we put a little portion out there and people took something and ran with it. But then I hit them with what they didn't see. Well, Suleiman was saying he was close to the great prophet, Ali. You see what I'm saying? But you go back and watch that video. We ain't going into all that right there. You know, but in this particular drawing here, there's something that we want to point out that's very important. Just give me a second here. Yeah, this particular drawing here, why they didn't put that in there? They keep leaving out that particular clip, so I got to go back to the raw presentation to pull up what I'm trying to pull up. Let me see. Oh. Give a second. We ain't going into that yet. One second here, family. I want to make sure that I got this up here for you. Because the way I do my stuff now, I just link it to the presentation. Oh, yeah, it's right here. Pardon myself. In this particular drawing, and this is from 1916, by the way. Pay attention to that year. And I basically went in there and put everything, made it a little clear because the actual measure here is kind of blurred out. So I went and typed everything in and brought it here. In this particular measure, where the prophet is referred to as the Egyptian adept student, you'll see where he states, I am a Muslim. You know, and it speaks of him being a man who was born with divine power. And he was taught by the adepts of Egypt. Right there. That's very important. So we're establishing the fact that he is in Egypt, you know, as far as him being taught there. He say, I have the secret of destroying the germs of tuberculosis and cancer and of the lungs in 10 to 30 days. Your lungs can stand a very strict examination that the germs are entirely destroyed. Also, destroy the germs of eating cancer, gout, rheumatism, lumbago, heart trouble, female diseases, and serious affections of the body. All at once, adults and children, and be relieved of your sufferings. If you have any doubt about my treatments, you can be healed before $1 is paid with security. Through these divine treatments, there has been a great success of contagious and long-standing diseases which have been cured in 2 or 3 days. I also give divine instructions and interpret the Bible from Genesis to Revelations. Also have 18 years of Christ's life that is silent to your holy Bible for those who desire to know more about Jesus the Christ. So we see that even when it comes to the lessons of Yehoshua, the prophet had these lessons way back in 1916, even though he published his work later, you know, in 1927. So he already had these lessons and was teaching them. And there was conflict with those who were studying the biblical narrative, you know, and they didn't understand the Jew that the prophet had brought on the manifest. You see, and you know, all of these are sources that prove this. The Newark Evening News, you know, June the 27th, 1916. That's a newspaper clipping. I'm finna pull that up. I didn't cover that when I did this presentation before. You know, his calling card, we just read that to you. You know, that was what we just read. You know, 1920 census record. You know, we showed you the record, you know, earlier. And you can go back to my video, Professor Drew, the Egyptian Adept. You know, when you go on various platforms that I demonstrated, we demonstrated that. So these also, you got scholarly references or whatever. But some of these same people, you know, that was in here coming into my page, you know, like this one here that is cited, Fatih Abdat. You know, we had shown that this one actually was in my page, you know, asking me, can he use, you know, that particular picture right there, the Dr. Drew, the great divine healer. You know, that's him right there in my comments again, saying he interested. I showed this before. Same people that have wrote information against the prophet. But it says pretty much here the same thing. You know, that the prophet has power to heal all kinds of pains and fevers, constipation, you know, dyspepsia, convulsions, lumbago, heart disease. He was Dr. Sebi before Dr. Sebi became Dr. Sebi. And he was around 26, 27 years old when he was demonstrating his family. You see what I'm saying? And it says, these secrets are from the great country of India. A demonstration will convince you of his mystic powers. So he's telling you that he got knowledge from India and he has knowledge from Kemet. That's two sources that I'm showing you, you know, on his brochures. This is his publication. You see, so dealing with that alone, we had the prophet himself saying he was given a high name over there. And now we also have, you know, a brochure along with these other measures, you know, where the prophet himself, you know, has this in his publication. So that should be enough in reference to him saying that he got these teachings from India or the adepts of Egypt. You know, it don't get no plainer unless you gonna call the prophet a liar. And if you say that and you're a Moorish American, bearing the title, then you a liar. And the truth ain't in you. And we don't say that to be mean. We just calling it like it is. There's a very important drawing here. Another measure. Let's go to another source. That's two so far. Two that's actually from the prophet. Oh, they didn't activate that link right there. So I got some because I actually had it up earlier. That's all right. We're gonna go into the history here. And there it go right there. Not there. Oh yeah, well, that was it. This is public right here. This is a article from when Prophet Noble Drew Ali got locked up. You got some idiots out there that came out here and tried to use this to slander the character of the prophet. You know, because he was locked up by the European. They set him up and sent informants in there, you know, and basically with marked bills and everything, just like they do if you know anything about the streets. They were doing this way back in 1913. Listen to this. This is a rare article. And listen to what's said here. Could Ben Bars still sat in jail? Now, you know, anytime Rome wrote about our people, they always slandered them. You know, like they would call the Moors a voodoo coat, you know, and all this hoodoo and all this type of stuff right here. You know, to say all type of things. They wouldn't just tell the story as it was. So you can expect them to try to throw some little shots at the prophet in here. But listen carefully. Now notice they refer to him as Egyptian adept student in this article. It's finally released by Judge Pilgrim, but on bail of $1,700. Dr. Thomas Drew's miracles, many. We established that, this also is a name connected to being the prophet Thomas Timothy Drew. It's even said that Aaron Payne, the attorney, was the one that put the name Timothy Drew in the records. But, my thing is, I always say, that being that the prophet was adopted, there's a possibility that he was called, by the name Thomas Drew, by his birth parents and by his auntie, he was properly called another name, which is the Timothy degree. We ain't putting no doubt there. We know we talking about the same person. So some people tried to make it seem like the prophet was hiding his identity. That's another lie. Just because these two names are stated the way they are, you don't even know if that was the prophet's middle name or not. But that's a whole nother measure. But it says Dr. Thomas Drew was advertising as an Egyptian adept student. All right now. Who has been performing miracles in his mysterious chamber in the attic room of 22nd School Street for several weeks. Sat most of this morning in a cell in the 4th precinct lockup and wondered how he could effect an escape. Now you notice them elaborating. They don't know what the prophet was thinking about when he was locked up in that cell. So they're trying to be funny. They're being sarcastic when they say he was wondering how he can effect an escape. Of course, he has twisted and broken such bars with one hand, has shattered great iron locks, and has brushed away handcuffs with only a smile and a muscle twitch. It says, but they were his own bars, locks, and handcuffs. The professor was also noticeably worried over a bail of $1,700, which had been fixed by the Judge Pilgrim to ensure his appearance before the grand jury when he is wanted to answer 2 charges. One is for pretending powers of clairvoyance, and the other accuses him of selling medicine without a license. So this is what who gets locked up for demonstrating powers of clairvoyance? When have you ever known that to be a crime? Only Rome can come up with such madness. So you already know what's going on here. Watch this. Information gathered by detectives Schroeder and Bowman of the headquarters shows that the professor had done a land office business in medicine and was waging a campaign to obliterate all illness from his neighborhood. So this is how he caught attention to the European, the Roman. They say the prophet was trying to heal the people from illness. This way back then, Moore's kin, 26 years old, he thinking like that. Moore's just getting up on this stuff now. Shout out to our brother Yaki, who was inspired by Dr. Sebi and Lola, Africa, and, so forth and so on. We give people their flowers. We ain't scared to mention nobody's name. But the prophet was doing this way back then, and see how they tried it. You see how they did Dr. Sebi. He got locked up and had to fight his way up out of it. And his defense was when they asked him about a license of practicing medicine, he told them, he said, did Herodotus have a license? And Sebi actually ended up winning his case, according to what I know. But then they caught the brother again, and, he ended up falling ill all of a sudden. But I'll let y'all do the math with that. So the prophet was trying to heal his whole neighborhood. 26 years old, man, that's unprecedented. Thinking like that way back then. What the average 26-year-old doing right now? But it says he had also given some very remarkable advice regarding prospective marriages, investments, and whatnot. You know, the prophet was always giving advice to people, even to the extent we got in the records where he had gave advice to the European and they took their money out of the bank before they collapsed. And they came back to thank the prophet, but he had already transcended. It says, attired in a loosely fitting multicolored gown and with a brilliant purple hood covering his head, Professor Drew, who is an East Indian, this is what they saying, with Virginia as his birthplace, right? We know that it's a birth certificate that placed the prophet in Virginia, and it's one that placed him, you know, in North Carolina. People don't know Virginia and Carolina was also known as one place at a time too, so go figure. Told of his wonderful second sight powers last night when he was visited by detectives. He advised Sharodir to invest his $1 million as planned, gave advice to them, and said he would be repaid threefold. See, the prophet was even trying to teach them. It says information costs $1. It says it cost Sharodir $1. It says for the information, despite the announcement on Drew's cards that he operated, it says, look like it says greatest. It says, so a marked bill was given him. It says gratis, pardon self. And later, Sharodir and Miss Hughes, a policewoman acting, I guess, as his wife, revisited the mysterious chamber. And the professor tell again of his marvelous powers. And then it goes into the cost of $1, which was actually advertised in that brochure that I read earlier. The marked bill was given in change for a $2 note. With that evidence, the detectives placed the professor under arrest and took him to the 4th precinct with all of his paraphernalia and medicine, the Ortiz compound and so forth and so on, which is some good stuff. After being placed in the cell, the prisoner said he was a finished scholar in the art of breaking through bars and didn't really expect to spend the entire night in lockup. They don't understand. The prophet was letting you know he can cross the borderland at will. And he wasn't going to be held, basically, is what he was telling them, even though they're trying to be sarcastic again. Of course, the professor had a lot of other really clever tricks that he would do for the lone dollar, but other visitors to the mysterious chamber had seen it all. For instance, when dinner time grew near, the professor enjoyed a meal of 80 penny nails. It says if his audience was supported enough to pay for the iron. Then he resorted to miraculous powers of healing to make indigestion impossible. Scores of children in the neighborhood, it is said, witnessed the nail mills of the professor. Now, this is all dealing with some of the things that adepts, would do before the public to show, their powers, so to speak. But it says a silver offering, it was stated, was exacted from the children. Now, a lot of people put this out here and tried to be funny and laugh and kiki and ha-ha about this. But the prophet was most definitely one that was able to demonstrate adept degrees. He was a master, of basically being able to get people to see beyond the manifest. That's what it was all about. It says his was a 4-hour day. The professor worked only several hours each day. The 2 hours preceding noon and from 6 to 8 o'clock at night, he ate the nails during the twilight hours. Professor Drew said he learned his work in that great country of India. So this is the third source speaking of the prophet. And for those who think that it's talking about somebody different, when you go back and look at the time right here, 6 to 8 p.m., School Street, the same address that was given in this article. So it's talking about the prophet. Again, you can see him here when he was a young man. You see? So, finishing up this article, you see it says he said he learned this work in that great country of India and was able to cure aches, pains, fevers, consumption, dyspepsia, the same thing that's in the article, convulsions, lumbago, heart disease, indigestion, neuralgia, paralysis, rheumatism, nervousness. So we know from all these different sources, the prophet has told these people, that he was able to demonstrate these types of services. After making it possible for the local health department to cease business, the professor had contemplated chasing over to London to open the eyes of the blinded soldiers. Oh, yes, he could do that, for he had some wonderful experience in India among the soldier blind. That's why we go into the oral statements, and this coincides with what the prophet said, that he can be in India 1 minute and have the sisters jumping for joy while he in another place. We know that this deals with adept science of being able to manifest at will, like Yehoshua was able to demonstrate. The most expensive miracle that the professor performed was the ejection of all evil spirits and influences. He said he had the power to make evil spirits manifest and remove them, thereby making it possible for one to enjoy a night of perfect sleep. No miracles appeal for such aid. However, it says hundreds of persons have been advised by the professor, according to the police, and an investigation is still being conducted with the hope of obtaining some accurate information regarding the size of his clients. And he was released, basically from that, and he ended up leaving a few years later. But this is from, the time that the prophet was in Newark, New Jersey. This was all going back to 1916. So this takes us into another measure that I have in this presentation that I did not present, because it's a long presentation, and so I wasn't able to never really finish it on other platforms. But on my platform, I give you that portion that I never went over. That's very important. So we know that our prophet was independent in his learning, and he was not a student of no Hamed Suleiman. And we proved that when we did this presentation, but there was more to it that I never got to cover. As you can see here, I quoted from the Grand Quran, the 6th degree and 25th landmark. In other words, Surah 6, in Ayat 25. Yusuf Ali, of them there are some who pretend to listen to thee, but we have thrown veils on their hearts so they understand it not. And deafness is in their ears. If they saw every one of the signs, not would they believe in them, insomuch that when they come to thee, they but dispute with thee. The unbelievers say, these are nothing but tales of the ancients. You see? So I asked the question again, who would deny Prophet Noble Drew Ali his Hajj to the east, but those who reject his prophethood? We were asked the question also in the questionnaire, what is the name of our ruler, or the title given to our ruler in the east? And the answer is Sultan. That's not a name, that's a title. A lot of people were thinking that's just talking about a ruler in Morocco somewhere. But in all actuality, the prophet himself, is recognized as a sultan as well. When we say our ruler, who you think you talking about? You talking about the supreme ruler of the executive rulers, the supreme ruler of the grand rulers. Your grand rulers are those who are your grand sheik, your chairman, your assistant grand sheik. The prophet is the supreme grand ruler of the executive rulers. You see? And when you look up the word sultan, you will find that sultan means ruler. So what is the name of our ruler? A title, rather. What is the title that was given to our ruler? Prophet Noble Drew Ali was the sultan, not Kirkman Bey. And he didn't put it on his fez. He demonstrated in his actions. You know, the chairman gave a grand history on showing that time period, that 10-year time period where the prophet was absent in the census, you know, from 1902 to 1912, you know, when he graduated from the mystery system. We're going to read it. In 1902, Timothy Drew, born January the 8th, 1886, left the USA and went to Egypt at the age of 16. Wasn't he far too young to join any Masonic lodge? He returned as an ancient Egyptian adept master and Muslim of the ancient order of Islam. Wasn't he too wise to stoop to Freemasonry? In 1912, he graduated from the ancient Comedian mystery system, Islamism. He was given the high name, here it is, of Sharif Abdul Ali, with the most benevolent degree the greatest school on earth could bestow upon any man as a prophet, angel, Muslim, the name of faithful, and went into the holy city of Mecca. His name represents his journey. We're going to show that to you in a minute. They're being accepted as by the Sultan Saud, a direct descendant of Hagar. Ali made his Hajj, and with their protections and blessings, he left for the USA at the age of 27 with the sacred name of El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. We're going to get into that name in a minute. He did not join a Masonic lodge while in Africa nor Arabia. He left when he was 16, so he was too young to be a Mason. And by the time he came back, he was already initiated by adepts, Egyptian adepts. He did not join a Masonic lodge while in Africa, nor Arabia, or Morocco, or India. So why would a lodge trade their master for a bona fide holy prophet fresh from the holy city of Mecca? Following his meeting with presidential candidate Governor Woodrow Wilson, the holy prophet founded the first temple in 1913 on the second floor above Dixon Barbershop in Newark, New Jersey. Suleiman was a co-founder with the prophet according to our records. He was not the founder. And we showed in the presentation that's dealing with this PDF that Suleiman didn't become associated, and even in the second, temple, because they incorporated it after the prophet left Newark, New Jersey. And that's when Suleiman came into being involved with that particular group as well. But you don't really find in record proof of his involvement. It's actually Dixon them that actually, reestablished a different version of the Canaanite temple, which they referred to Canaanite temple number 1. We went into why him and Dixon got into it, because he was teaching Islam. Dixon was caught up on the Bible. This is why he said Masons and, preachers would fight him tooth and nail, but they cannot win. As a 27-year young Muslim and a tested prophet of Allah, pray tell what in this world a bunch of denationalized NBC Lodge brothers suffering from mental slavery possibly have to offer the wisdom of Noble Drew Ali? That's my chairman. That's from the Exhuming of a Nation. So briefly just going through here, we ain't got to go into that, but you can see in this document, this actually came from Grand Sheik Frederick Turner L., who was a young seed in the Canaanite temple as a child, but ended up coming up into the teachings, and he was real close to the Prince of Peace. In fact, Turner L was one of the ones that aided Morocco in gaining their independence. We find that in the record. He was moving like that. And the Prince of Peace, R. Jeremy Bay, was right there in a lot of those sessions. They were working together. They was moving, on an international level back then. That's why you see the students that come up under Turner L, which is some of the brothers that's still in Baltimore demonstrating MST of A. They have a similar tone that we have. They understand the international measure, but they still drawing from an organizational standpoint. And we drawing from a governmental standpoint. So you can see, the students that come from Turner L and those who come through the Prince of Peace, our lineage, and I'm talking about those who deal with the Braden Bay demonstration, who our chairman know well, and we just went through all of this stuff right here, but that's a 1916 date that they had put on that document. We're going to bypass all that right there and show you what I didn't get a chance to show you. But we got a little more ground to cover. I want to get into this high name, but it's necessary. That's your boy Suleiman right there again. And they mentioned in his affiliation with the Canaanite temple after the prophet left Newark, New Jersey. Suleiman was trying to teach masonry. The prophet wasn't teaching no masonry. That's why they fell out. That's why he say, don't let these foreign Muslims get up on your rostrum. He came back from Egypt with the prophet. He came from the Sudan. That's where they met at. So ask yourself, I asked this question before. If him and the prophet met each other and the prophet was on that journey, what was the prophet doing before he met Suleiman? He had already been initiated. He had already been, brought up and raised by the adepts of Egypt. So the problem that they have here with trying to make Suleiman be the teacher of the prophet is Suleiman don't have no teaching that you can find and trace back to it. And we see that the prophet was working way back in 1916, where Suleiman surfaces around 1922 and 23 trying to teach Masonry. So Suleiman's idea was trying to teach Masonry where the prophet was teaching in the ancient Canaanite temple, which he was a co-founder of, Suleiman. But, you can't really find the evidence of, anything that Suleiman was teaching, even when it comes to his so-called Masonic teaching. You can't find no Masonic teaching. You can find that he incorporated and he was going against Caesar R. Blake them, under the Prince Hall demonstration, and he was going against the Europeans, say they was bogus, and he gonna make them swear on the beard of Muhammad and make them real Masons, because he say the European and the Negroes was bogus. And see, we put out here showing where he say he was close to the great prophet, and they didn't have this article. I hear this one back. Who you think the great prophet is? It tell you right here, when it was given a rundown on the officers that had been a part of the incorporation. Say the Moorish Science Temple of America deriving its power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad to propagate the faith and extend the learning and the truth of the great prophet of Ali in America. Who you think that it talking about when it say he was close to the great prophet? And the prophet was always styled in that way, even in this newspaper article here. Hear, oh hear, all ye nations, I your prophet come with salvation and peace for you. Come now before it is too late. I can help you. Don't delay, come now. There will be a mass meeting at the Moorish Science Temple, number 11. This is one of the temples actually established by the prophet. And see, that's another thing. All the prophet temple was out the manifest when he left the manifest. It wasn't but 15. So all these different groups that's saying that they are the temple this and they want to try to attack the government, go and trace your lineage or your temple. And we ain't doing this to attack no more Science Temple. We just saying the one that like to be beating on their chest and trying to attack the government. Pull your address up and pull them original 15 temples that the prophet have And if you can't trace yourself back to them, your temple way over in Milwaukee, your temple 11, or your temple 15, or it's way over in, Wisconsin somewhere. Milwaukee is Wisconsin, but, Atlanta, then that ain't a temple that was set up by the prophet. So our brothers have to be humble when they get out here trying to act like they're on a crusade. They attacking people because you may be sincerely, right in your vibration of trying to build or rebuild, but you can be sincerely wrong when you go to attacking people, trying to act like you come directly through the lineage of the prophet when we know his lineage was broken. And this is why I'm saying this, because this is part of the reason why people don't have the high name. The Prince of Peace came directly from the adept teachings of the prophet. I Cook Bay and G Cook Bay, Sister Christina Price Bay, Sister Pearl Drew Ali, these were the teachers of my Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akin Acton Pert M. Heru Tutankhamun Bay, Elihu Pleasant Bay, you like to call him. Most of you know him by that name. You don't know him by his high name. He was taught by these people, so he was given the high name. I even seen a video where All Love El referred to the prophet as El Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. And it makes sense because him and the chairman know each other from back in the day. He know the Prince of Peace. But you'll have people in the body that he was part of the 34 portion. They'll swear that his name wasn't El Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. So they really don't follow what he was teaching. You see, Moors like to cherry pick, what it is that they take from other people, and then, they run with it. Like I say, we ain't doing this to attack nobody, but we're going to tell the truth. Some people get mad. They don't want you to tell the truth, but we're going to tell the truth because you're going to hate us anyway. You see what I'm saying? A mastermind would never screen itself for the sake of reputation and fame. To be a friend. If you truly my friend and you are more in the temple and we cool with each other, then I ain't doing no harm by telling the truth. We ain't attacking you. We just putting it out here. And our brothers got to be humble. And the Moorish American government, we want to put this out here. We ain't never said we was in competition with no Moorish Science Temple. What a government look like competing with an organization? We never said the flag of the Moorish American government is the flag of the Moorish Science Temple. We ain't never said that. We say the flag that we demonstrate with is the flag of all 60 million of our people. For those who are making that straw man argument out there, attacking the government, that's you doing that. We ain't beefing with y'all. Y'all fighting with ones and we ain't even paying no attention to the fight. We ain't in competition with no Moorish Science Temple. We teach about games of competition. Games of competition ain't got our people nowhere. So we ain't competing with nobody. And we love our family too. In spite of the madness, even the chairman said it, for, being set up by certain brothers. He say them still my brothers. I don't hate them. You understand? And that's how we teach. But a lot of people can't say that about my chairman. But that's all right too. We ain't mad at you. We gonna keep teaching this truth. See, a lot of this stuff been covered up. But in the end here, it says the great prophet Noble Drew Ali will be the chief speaker. So that's what I was covering in these documents here. When they say Suleiman was close to the great prophet, who you think they was talking about? He wasn't talking about Prophet Muhammad, but Prophet Muhammad wasn't on the manifest. You understand? So what I wanted to show you here that I wasn't able to show, this was really the most important part of my presentation, but I can run it down real quick. And this is showing a comparative chart of Noble Drew Ali versus Dr. Hamid Suleiman. And this shows, Noble Drew Ali, Thomas Timothy Drew, as I put here, the time frame from 1913 to 1929. That was his founding period. of the Canaanite temple all the way up to the Moorish Holy Temple, the Moorish Science Temple, and so forth and so on. Then you find Suleiman surfaces in the record 1922-1940, his founding period of his Mecca Medina temple. If he founded it, around that time, then how could the prophet be coming up under him as a mason when that was founded way after the prophet had already did his work? Prophet was on the manifest in 1913. Make it make sense, people. This is what I wanted to really show y'all. So the primary institution of the prophet, this is a T-square. Canaanite Temple, 181 Warren Street, Newark, New Jersey. You seen that on the same articles up there. Mecca Medina Temple, this was a later period, Detroit and Chicago. This is after the prophet was working. Show me that Suleiman was teaching what the prophet teach in the questionnaire in the Moorish Holy Quran. Then you have something to stand on. But when he coming behind the prophet later, that already killed that argument that people still, stubborn, talking about he was his teacher. We got the records here. The public recognition. Newark newspaper, 1916-1922. We just showed you the newspapers. Referred to Dr. Thomas Drew, Egyptian adept. We read it to you. Recognized, here it is. This is Suleiman. Recognized primarily within the Mecca Medina Temple network. Less contemporary press coverage. So he didn't get a lot of coverage. Okay, doctrinal text. Prophet Noble Drew Ali's doctrinal text is Moorish 101 lessons, Moorish Holy Quran. His oral statements. Did not the author comparable foundation text? Suleiman did not author comparable foundation text. He didn't have no text. There are no documents to confirm no 96 degrees of no Mecca Medina temple. For y'all to be talking about he made the prophet a Mason. Ain't even no document out there. Every Masonic order we know got some degrees, rites, and ritual. What's Suleiman's at? For you to say that the prophet came up through him. See, y'all don't know. We scimitar sharp over here. You can't pull that nonsense on us. Moorish identity in Canaan. Establish a proto-Moorish identity. Teachings of Canaan as spiritual homeland. This is the prophet. Here's Suleiman. Continued the idea framework as co-founder. Implemented Drew Ali's Canaanite temple. It says community leadership. The prophet was direct, spiritual, civic, educational leader, teacher of early followers. Suleiman, organizational leader of temples, maintained and expanded Drew Ali's institutions. That's after the prophet had left. He then began to work with these Canaanite temples, Dixon them. Because they was Masons too. Legacy, founding status. The originator of doctrine. He originated his doctrine. The prophet. Identity and institutional framework. Suleiman was a successor, expanded and preserved the tradition. Primary sources, evidence. Newark Evening News, 1916. City directories, calling card, which I showed all that to you earlier before we got here. 1913 and 1922 activity. The prophet had left by that time. He had left Newark, New Jersey by 1922. The old member of the Canaanite temple that's in this actual presentation said that. He didn't see the prophet no more after 1922. That's when they incorporated the second version of the Canaanite temple. So stop saying that Suleiman was the leader. He wasn't even the leader of the second Canaanite temple because he ain't even mentioned in the corporation papers of that. It's Reverend Dixon and Turner L's father. But it says later organizational records, Mecca Medina Temple documentation. So you'll find him dealing with Mason, but you ain't going to find him teaching no Canaanite teaching. So we killing that noise right now. Anybody that say Suleiman was the prophet's teacher and that he raised the prophet up through Masonic degrees after this right here, you're just ignorant. And we don't say that to be mean. Ignorant to the fact. Key takeaways. Temporal priority. Noble Drew Ali predates Suleiman by decades in both teaching and institutional founding. Doctrinal origination. Drew Ali authored the foundational doctrine of the Canaanite temple. Suleiman worked within that framework of his doctrine. Institutional foundation. Drew Ali's Canaanite Temple is the first organized Moorish institution. Public authority. Drew Ali was publicly recognized during his lifetime. Suleiman's authority comes after, dealing with masonry. So we got the temporal priority and institutional foundation. Noble Drew Ali, Thomas Drew, established the Canaanite Temple in Newark, New Jersey. This is verified via, again, through all them records. I ain't got to keep going over it. Suleiman, on the other hand, is associated with the Mecca Medina Temple, founded decades later in the mid-20th century. No contemporary evidence links him to the Newark as founder. Even though we have in our records he was a co-founder, you know, it ain't nothing saying that he was the founder. And even in the Canaanite brother, the last Canaanite brother, he said Prophet Noble Drew Ali was the founder and the teacher. And he said that Dixon was the second teacher until they started bucking. So 1913 Proto-Moorish institution. You know, ain't nothing that linked Suleiman to that according to the records. We ain't found it yet. Drew Ali clearly predates Suleiman in establishing an institutional base for Moorish Islamic-inspired African-American religious movement. Doctrinal development. Drew Ali authored Moorish 101 Lessons, Early Educational Framework. The 102s was the original. Moorish Holy Quran, religious texts with Canaan references and ethical guidance. We showed you that the Prophet had them lessons way back in 1916, even though he published them, you know, later on. And that's another lie they've been telling. They come from Levi Dowling. Now you want to accept that Levi Dowling supposed to got here from the Akashic records, out the ethers. The Prophet told you he got his teaching from India, Kemet, and so forth and so on. You don't want to believe what he told you, you know. And then Levi come back, turn right back around and say the same text. We got the proof. We done showed this. These same texts exist in Sanskrit manuscripts, although he didn't get healed from them. He got it out the ethers. Y'all want to believe that and then say the Prophet plagiarized Levi works. Stop it. If the Prophet would have said he got his stuff out of the ethers or the Akashic records, y'all would have tried to make mockery of that. He told you he got them from the manifest, and he divinely prepared them. It says these texts explicitly define the Moorish identity, you know. So when we go into this here family, the public persona, that's given the same information, proto-Moorish identity, you know, about the Prophet, you know, teaching and so forth and so on. It gives us a summary of this drawing. Drew Ali's use of Canaan and Moorish identity predates Suleiman. Newark Temple, you know, served as both spiritual and civic instruction and center. Followers were taught Moorish citizenship, ethical obligations, historical identity. Suleiman's activities, while important for later institutional continuation, built upon Drew Ali's pre-existing framework. That second version of the Canaanite Temple, after the Prophet had moved to Chicago. And then Suleiman got locked up for molestation. And you didn't hear nothing else about him after that. Drew Ali's network, Newark activities part himself demonstrate originative agency. He created the identity, teachings, and community framework that later leaders expanded. Summary: Noble Drew Ali, the founder, he established the first institutional textual framework, publicly preached, codified Moorish identity, and created a proto-religious structure. You know, Dr. Hamed Suleiman, which is a successionist, a successor, it states continuator, he maintained and reorganized later temples, but did not originate the doctrine. Identity framework or nearly Newark-based institution evidence, hierarchy reinforcing Drew Ali's founder status. You see, so we got it again. Newark Canaanite Temple, 1913, primary source of institutional founding. We showed them to you. Moorish Holy Quran and 101's primary doctrinal evidence. We got it right now. You got to prove that Suleiman taught those things, and you can't. Newspaper accounts and calling cards, contemporary public recognition. You see what I'm saying? This is Suleiman right here. He was a Mason and Shriner. You know, he was even marked about his fed. Like, if you from Sudan, then why you got your words written in English? You see what I'm saying? Right here, this is a Muslim organization, and the Muslim over here got his scimitar with the same little crescent that the Shriners have, and he got it wrote in Arabic. And this is a Muslim organization. This ain't even a Shriners organization. These Muslims in Detroit, you know, the Muslim Association. And then he's saying that he was the ruler coming from Egypt, when this brother, the Grand Sharif of Mecca, Hassan Saeed Hussein bin Ali, was the person that was over there ruling over there. So, you know, Suleiman looking kind of shaky, family. You know, y'all got to check his background. And these are the people that was on that incorporation, 1924. See that right there? On the corporation, the Second Canaanite Temple. George Collins, W.J. Brown, Walter Crawford, Joseph A. Grant, Fred Mason, Willie J. Turner, Samuel Dixon, Reverend Dixon. Be it remembered that on this first day, May AD 1924, before me, Notary Public of New Jersey, personally appeared George Collins and Samuel Dixon, W.G. Brown, and Walter Crawford, you know? And they basically was the ones that reincorporated. And it's crazy because even though they bucked the prophet teaching Islam, look at this. The purpose or for which this corporation is formed is the purpose of religious worship and teaching of the religion Muslim of Islam. So they still tried to act like they were teaching the Muslim way of life after the prophet departed. So they really just wanted him out the way, you know, so they can do their thing. He let them have it. He went to the Midwest because he said it was closer to Islam. So, you know, that's it coming from this particular document, you know. And like I say, we'll get it to the people. It got all the information in here. It proves even more that the prophet. Now, one more thing, because we got more running around here asking us, you know, why y'all use the year 1865? Because we was Muslims and we was Moors even at that time. Our holy prophet came back and reminded us of who we were. So they like who the founder during that time. See this brother right here known as the Moorish Prince. And this is actually a document. Here's some more documented information right here. This excerpts from it. I ain't going to read all of that. You'll get it when you see it. But there's a measure here on this Moorish Prince. It says at a large respectable meeting held in a Masonic hall on the 15th institution, the undersigned were appointed a committee to solicit aid from the citizens to enable the Moorish Prince. Now he was a slave, Abdul Rahman, to redeem his family from slavery, that he might return with them to his native country. You know, and the brother basically redeemed himself by letting them know he was Moorish. So this was demonstrated in 1828. That's even before the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. October the 16th, 1828, he was redeemed under his name in relation to dealing with being Moorish. He redeemed himself and his family by showing his Moorish nationality. So this has been done prior to our holy prophet coming on the manifest. He just came to remind us because this knowledge had been forgotten. This has been done before. This is an actual record. Go look up the Moorish Prince. It's more than that in here. This brother Abdul Rahman Ibrahim ibn Sori was from, you know, he was a Fullah. Fullah are Moors, and he was an Amir from the Futa Dajilan. Amir means prince of the region of Guinea, West Africa. I got DNA tied to that, who was captured and sold to slave traders and transported to the United States in 1788. And he got his redemption by claiming his Moorish identity. You know, so praise be to Allah. So what we're going to do right now, we want to show you something. That brings us here. And this is coming from the Exhumed of Nation, which is an excerpt from the Prophet's oral statements. He said, I was given a high name over there in Mecca, but you cannot use it over here. Be good Moors, and I will hand it down to you. So the chairman gave commentary on the prophet. He said he arrived in Arabia as an angel, a Muslim from Egypt. There in the holy city of Mecca, he, Timothy Drew, was given the holy attribute through the head of the holy city of the Sultan Abdul Aziz ibn Saud, a direct descendant of Hagar, who named him El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. So I emphasize in this particular measure, that the high name of the prophet has a relation to his journey, because El-Hajj represent him being in the holy city of Mecca. They tell you El-Hajj means traveler, sometimes spelled Haji, like they spell Haji name Ali, the adept brother that I was showing earlier, and it says it's an honorific title, which was originally given to a Muslim who has successfully completed the Hajj to Mecca. This attribute was received in Mecca. Sharif, or noble, is also transliterated Sharif, or Sharif, sheriff. This is where they get the name sheriff from. Or Sharif, Darija, Sharofa. It is a traditional Arabic title. The origin of the word is an adjective meaning noble, highborn. This attribute was received in Saudi Arabia. Abdul, servant of humanity, and also transliterated as Abdal or Abdel or Dil. This is very important. That name, Abdul and Abdil, servant of humanity. The most frequent transliteration combination of the Arabic word abd. That's the root meaning servant. Abd also had to do with worshiper. This attribute was received in Saudi Arabia. The essence of the name Ali, though received through Ibn Saud, really comes from Morocco. It means the exalted one, Ali. It's the male Arabic name derived from the Arabic root that deal with A, L, and W, which literally means high, elevated, or champion. This attribute was received in Morocco. But if you want to translate the prophet name Noble Drew Ali, then you would translate the word noble into Sharif. Abdul, him being a servant of humanity, and then you have Ali, Sharif Abdul Ali. El-Hajj represents his heart. And then we had, his adversary, Sadi Majid, who went way to Egypt to get a fatwa against the prophet. He said, this is him speaking to the East. He said, what say you may your virtue endure about a man currently living called Noble Drew Ali? He was speaking to the sheikhs of the East. The meaning of his name being the prophet who is linked to the house of prophecy, Ali, a legend that he is a prophet promised at the end time, who was announced by Jesus upon him be peace, and who's composed a book called Drew Ali Holy Quran, meaning Holy Quran. He said the meaning of the Holy Quran is the Holy Quran, which was revealed to Mecca by our Lord Muhammad, upon him blessings be peace. However, there is not to be found in his book of his any surah of the Noble Quran. So it's talking about the 18 missing years. So Sadi had read it. He said up here, thirdly, that Islam that was before him was not true. And Islam that he claimed that he had garnered his knowledge in the city of Fez. He's saying the prophet, he's seen him saying that, this is another source. He said the prophet said he got his knowledge from Fez, and that he had met with the leaders of the Islamic religion there and in Egypt. So he was going to inquire to these sheikhs about meeting did the prophet meet them, basically? Or he's just saying the claims that he heard the prophet saying. So outside the prophet making this statement in his record, we have the adversary, we got the newspapers, and everybody, even the European, repeated the same measure. The Hijaz in Iraq is saying that the prophet had went all these places, and that the scholars had testified that he is the prophet promised at the end of time. He began to preach this to the world. This is what Sadi Majid heard the prophet say. Then he said the secret of his prophecy was Jesus, peace be upon him. His adoption of Islam was in former times, and they had hidden this from the world. So we know he referring to when the prophet said that these keys were held back. He heard the prophet say this, and this is what made him go all the way to Egypt. He wasn't able to make it back. You know, they say he wasn't qualified to represent nobody in Islam. That's what they say about Salih Majid. He couldn't even come back to America, but him and Lomax Bey was over there kicking it, you know, over there. The object of worship in Islam has no eye which it sees, no intelligence, and with the reasons no ear which it hears, and does it have any power or power, it is nothing but fantasy shot through with hocus pocus. This is what he put abroad in his unbelief and hypocrisy in the book mentioned above. You know what I mean? This is what he said he heard. But in other words, the prophet wasn't teaching no Arabized Islam. You know, we can see this from what Salih Majid said. Salih Majid was also the one that made Malcolm X defect from the teachings of the Nation of Islam. So he'd been working for a long time. You know, because Elijah used to send the NOI to study with Salih Majid. And Lomax Bey, which was in Temple number 4 that, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Farad Muhammad had been a part of in Detroit as far as attending the meetings, you know, go figure. But that's a whole nother measure. You know, so what we have established here, we getting ready to open up the floor, Morris. You know, we have established, you know, the demonstration with Hajj. We have it here if you want to look it up. Surah 22, Ayat 27. It tells man to make the Hajj or the pilgrimage. You know, that's one of the pillars of Islam. You know, Al-Hajj is the name of this surah. You know, so it goes deep. There's a whole lot here in this measure, but you can do that research on your own. You know, relating to the Kaaba and Mecca and all of that. Then we have Sharif. You know, Sharif is actually a name that means highborn and noble, but it also refers to the Quran. Our holy prophet was the walking circle 7. You see, even though the Grand Quran is referred to as Sharif, you know, and so forth and so on. You know, also, you know, this is a measure dealing with Allah's expression and attributes. And also after that, we got Abdul, which we showed you means servant again. And Abdul is also mentioned in the Holy Quran when you see servant of Allah. But the deep name that I want you to do research on, people, is in the same root, Abdal, connected to Abdul, which means substitutes or saints. And it does not appear in the Quran itself. It's a concept that's developed in Islamic mysticism, Sufism. That name Abdal, connected to Abdul, rooted in the hadith and sayings of the prophet describing a group of pious individuals, often cited as 40 in number in Syria, who were divinely appointed to uphold the world with Allah replacing them as they die. So this is the pole, you know, that is set to represent the universe, or what some people like to call in some aspects, you know, the peer or the mirror, the master teacher, the Mahdi, the Katub or Katab. It says, while the word isn't in the Quran, it is a significant idea in tradition linked to verses about God's special servants of the concept of replacement. You see, Abdal, you know, so this is powerful. You know, Abdal is actually connected to the word Abdul on a high degree. Servants. And Al-Ali, we already went over. You can see that there's a surah known as Al-Ali. That's surah 22, ayat 61. You know, and Ali, the name Ali is mentioned in Surah Luqman 31:30 as well. You know, the most exalted. So that's the end of my presentation, family, in regards to dealing with the high name of the prophet and the lineage of it, how he got it, and everything, Morris Ken. And we just say gratitude with a divine attitude. We done made it plain. We made it plain to you why people ain't got this name and why they fighting it tooth and nail. You know, they can't win. But yeah, we got all that right there for you to, you know, and we're gonna send the PDF to those who want it. So that being said, we're gonna open up the floor now for our Morris Ken Happy Manifestation Week. You know, it's been a grand drawing to unveil the prophet's holy name and the real meaning behind it and how he got it, and remove the cobwebs of confusion from our people. So we opening up the floor right now. Star 6 your phone, Morris. Islam, Sister Anna Jean. We hear you loud and clear, Goddess and Queen.
This is the Lord Minister Anna Jean Smith Bay of the North Carolina territory, in Georgia territory of Marshall American government. I rise and give all praises to our Father God, Allah, and honor to his prophet Noble Drew Ali, our prophet Noble Drew Ali, and High Sharif Abdul Ali. I give honor to all our Marsh American divine ministers. I give honor to our grand chief, our grandchildren, our assistant grand chief, and all the more divine ministers of Marsh America government. You know, our prophet Noble Drew Ali is the only Western born prophet in the life of the cycle age. Ali is the originated founder of the Morning Sign Temple of America and the Holy Savior for the Morning America as a pure and clean nation of people. He bears one free national name, the faithful and the divine duty of all prophets by redeeming his people from the sinful thought of mental slavery. They are fallen humanity and miraculously mental slavery to the miraculously exhuming them from the superstitious grave of Negro, black, and color and Afro-American. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the only prophet that came and taught us about ourselves. All other prophets came to help free their nation of people. And Prophet Noble Drew Ali, just like the other prophets, came to help free his nation of people. So Allah divinely prepared Prophet Noble Drew Ali and sent him here for all humanity. Our Prophet Noble Drew Ali is a real prophet, and he is on the soul plane today. He knows everywhere one of his morals are on the line, on the way. Noble Drew Ali, he said he came just before the fire. He said, when the fire comes, I will be your water. Get behind me if you want to make it through. So if you don't believe that he's a true prophet, he said, watch my prophecy. And a lot of his prophecy have came to pass. I'm watching his prophecy. And I know that our prophet Noble Drew Ali is the seventh angel of Allah. Allah divinely prepared him. Excuse me, more. My glasses is off. I can't hardly see my words that time. So please excuse me. And you know, our prophet, he came to the fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of America. And he said, the national North America need to learn to love instead of hate, and to know of their higher self and lower self. He teaches us about ourselves, to get to know ourselves. All other prophets that came, they didn't do that. They didn't teach us about ourselves and how to know ourselves, our higher self and our lower self. But our prophet Noble Drew Ali did not leave a stone unturned. He taught us and brought us our salvation that the European took from us and put Christianity in front of us and made us with the gun and the whip, our forefathers, worship a false a God outside of themselves, Jesus. We know that was Yehoshua and not Jesus. And they're still doing it nowadays in those churches. They're still up on the mental slavery of the Europeans because I was myself. And Allah opened my eyes and brought me out of there. Him and Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Prophet is a real prophet, a holy man of Allah that came for all humanity. And a lot of people don't receive him because he Asiatic and his color is olive. And we are Asiatic and our color is olive. Olive dark, olive light. We have a beautiful color that our Father God, Allah, gave us. And we have a great prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, El-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali, came and he went to the east and brought all light back to us that the Europeans took. They thought they took it from us. But Allah always sent one greater than they is, and that is Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam Grandman, peace and blessings to you. And Grand Sheik, congratulations again for being our Grand Sheik. Praise Allah for you. Peace and love. Islam for Islam.
Islam. Allah is due to praise, sister. We give honors to you for that drawing. Islamism without the schism. Gratitude. All right. Next more. Islam, sister. Yeah, Prophet Noble Drew Ali was given a high name in the East. That's our subject matter. Okay, pardon the body. Okay, pardon the self, brother. I was over here talking, had it mute. But we give honors to Sister Anna Jean for her drawing. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. And we give honors to your sister. And our subject title more again is Prophet Noble Drew Ali was given a high name in the East. You know, this is on the cusp of, you know, the Holy Week. You know what I mean? So Islam, give praise to Allah and celebrate his manifestation week, and also give your measure in regards to your understanding of the high name. All right, any other more? Islam, brother, yes.
Islam.
Manifestation Day and blessed holiday and blessed New Year. Praise Allah. For all the Moors all over the world, especially here in the Moorish American government. To the entire Act One. As always, special honor to our national Grand Sheik and our national Grand Chamber of Moorish America. For me, special honor to our national Grand Sheik, who's our host tonight, and our national Grand Chamber of Moorish America, empowered to make law enforcement citizen of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. And honor to our national assistant Grand Sheik, because the assistant Grand Sheik is to assist Grand Sheik at all the paths they live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known for the citizen of Moorish America. Well, you know, so the Prophet did say, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. I take it to save thyself. And he said, I get you to thinking to save yourself. And you know, sir, when you were the subject matter, the Prophet was given that holy name in the East. And you know, when you and I was listening at the class with my push on understanding, there's been and you're right, sir. A lot of this I've heard, and from different brothers up north and different areas when I first came home to the Moorish American government, because they were trying to pull me to all different ways away from the Moorish American government, because I was trying to learn. And being given poor advice outside, but hanging there listening to my chairman instead of listening to them, because I knew I was at home. You know, when you gave the subject title, given that high name in the East, and then when you talked about many, with denying the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, all I can just really what hit me was that no one was believing this. And see, when you have a Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and we know that there were some things that the Prophet went through, and praise Allah for our Prophet coming for our earthly salvation, coming for us all, and bring everything. And he said, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. I take it to save thyself. I brought you everything to save yourself. Take it. I mean everything. Praise Allah. And then it's still led to where people don't quite believe this truth. Well, you know, when you get these laws and lessons and you getting these laws and lessons, I'll be quick about it, because there's a few things I want to read why I don't have any doubt about the prophet, any doubt about what was being distributed here tonight, because it's being demonstrated here tonight based on the truth. Because the truth is what makes you free, and documentation beats conversation. And this is what the Holy Prophet brought. A lot of documentation of the word, everything. So I just want to read chapter 8, the friendship of Yehoshua and Lamech. Yehoshua explained to Lamech the meaning of truth. There's just a few of them, but this is just let me read it. Starting at Ayat 3, he said, and Yehoshua said, truth is the only thing that changed not. In the world, there's two things. One is truth, the other is falsehood, and falsehood which seem to be. Now, truth is all and has no cause, and yet it is the cause of everything. Falsehood is no, and yet it is the manifest of right. Whatever has been made will be unmade. That which began must end. 8. All things that can be seen by human eyes are manifest of all, are naught, and so must pass away. Now going over here to chapter 7, verse 7 and 8. I 8 and I 7 and I 8. All our meeting place with the man is in the heart. And in a still small voice, he speaks. And he who hears is still. 8. And all the people said, teach us to know how ones who speak within a heart, Allah of the still small voice. Now, man, with this here 12. In the same chapter 8, Yehoshua revealed to the people their sinful ways. This is Ayat 12. And you must bear in mind that when man harms in thought or words or deed another man, he does a wrong to Allah. And you know, so when I was listening at this class tonight, our Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought us everything and praise Allah with my portion of understanding. He's so powerful. I always said sometimes the Holy Prophet has the truth for everything and every truth. And you know, so that's what you demonstrated tonight. Nothing but the truth. And like I said, documentation be conversation. So I don't have any doubts whatsoever, like I've been saying for years since I've been here in the Montgomery government. I don't have any doubts about anything when it comes to our Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I may not be the most knowledgeable in the world, but it ain't like you can just lie to me and fool me. Because see, I'm gonna keep on trusting Allah and our Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali with my prophet out front, knowing that Allah, the great God of the universe, sent him from the earth of salvation. Without any doubt, I'm gonna keep on trusting my prophet. I don't care what anyone says. I'm gonna keep my prophet out front, and I'm gonna fight for my prophet. Not that he need me to fight for him, but I'm gonna fight for him because I love him. And I know he brought me everything, and I know this for a fact because I'm free. Many have come and tried to disturb me or turn me the other way about some of the same conversation that I listened to tonight. And I heard some of the conversation before. I didn't forget. That's why I went out there in the store such and fast to get this one of the books that was sent to me in 2008 the Holy Quran, or Moorish America by Macham. And I remember this being marked here because everything that when you are studying and you mark something, it helps you, it reminds you of who made you, Allah, the great God of the universe. And when you receiving these powerful class like tonight, all you have to do is remind yourself of who made you and go within and hear your brothers and sisters. And you can hear the truth. You can feel the truth. And you can see it. Now, I ain't going to try to sit here and try to explain all that, but I'm going to say this to you, sir. It's a very powerful and divine and truthful class on this manifestation day of our Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And this the Moorish American New Year. And I give you all the stuff because it was a very powerful class. And like I said, documentation beats conversation. And this is what you have brought to the forefront. Islam, sir. On be for the great class tonight.
Islam, Brother Justice. Gratitude. Islam. Is there any other more who would like to come and exercise their 5? Islam?
Islam, Dr. Larry Daniels Bay, South Carolina.
Islam. We got our brother Larry Daniels Bay
Islam
on the panel, and then we'll call on, I think it's Muhammad Bay came first.
Okay.
Who else was that with Muhammad Bay? Okay, yeah. Stand down, brother, till we let the brother Daniels Bay demonstrate. Islam, brother Daniels Bay.
Dr. Larry Daniels Bay, South Carolina Council Agent. First, I rise and give praise and glory to Allah, the most merciful. And I give high honors to his holy and divine prophet, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, the last prophet in these days of time. And I give honors to Act 1 of our divine constitution. And I honor you, brother. Great class, as always. And I honor all my Moorish kin online and all my officials. Peace and blessings, peace and love. Well, brother, see, you come with receipts, see, and you're right. A lot of people won't mention our prophet's high name because they don't believe. You know, I run into brothers that say, "Nah, he didn't have this, and he didn't have no name. He didn't go to Egypt, and he didn't do this." You know, and I call them non-believers. You know, and a non-believer is a non-believer because in other words, you have to have the love for the truth. And if you don't have the love for the truth, and when a man do his homework and his research and got receipts and everything, what is there to deny? It's all in their own minds. So they can't mention his name because they don't believe. So they won't even say it belonged to him. You know, that's why I call our prophet name, you know, at will, because, you know, he taught me that he appeared here and at other places also. And and they and excuse me, but I was taking notes, but and the fact that they refuse to believe shows that they just not vibrating at that level. You see, they're just not because they're confused. And until you make up your mind and understand the truth and search for the truth, and the truth resonates with the truth. So once man becomes the truth, I feel like there's no denying. You know, our prophet, everything he bought his books, he bought his knowledge, he bought his wisdom. We didn't have that over here. We didn't have that over here, and during the time that our prophet did it, imagine that, you know. And even the president Woodrow Wilson had to make a statement, you know, when he came back. But you know, the truth is the light. That's the way I see it, and they still just can't hear it because, like I said, you know, that's the only thing I can come up with. They just unbelievers, you know. They only believe in what they can touch today, what they can make a couple dollars off of, and all these things right here. But see what we're doing in this apparatus, our government is getting prepared because as when we look out at the world, this is the time. Prophet said it too. He said, look, the blood might have to run as high as the horse's brought, but I'm gonna let my other boys get in. Peace and blessing. Great class, brother. Great class.
Islam, you can't give what you don't have. And it ain't in the possession, it's the use. You know, the ones saying that they didn't come through the lineage of the prophet. So of course they wouldn't have the high name. All right, brother Muhammad Bey. Yeah. Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
And I want to give much honor to his holy breath, the spirit of the truth that was manifested in the temple of a perfected man, in the being of our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. I want to give honor to our Moorish American government, give honor to our Moorish American nation. I want to give honor to all the officials of Act 1 of our Moorish American government in this nation. Give honor to all those that have opened up the way tonight for this blessed, happy, holy day, and also our beloved, blessed, holy week as we celebrate the manifestation day of our beloved holy prophet. So I want to give honor to those that have spoken before me and those that will speak after me. I want to give honor to absolutely everything more. Much love, honor, and respect to you always, Master Francis. Man, this is a grand, magnanimous demonstration. And please send me that information because, see, this subject matter that you covered tonight is of crucial importance at this particular time because the whole concept of those that are trying to say that our beloved holy prophet, the holy prophet of Allah, that he did not go to Kemet, that he did not receive a high name other than Noble Drew Ali, which is really his high name in transliteration. So Islam and gratitude, grand magnanimous class. What I wanted to go into was in the first part of his high name, you see, on the common level, and I'm sure that you and many other boards are aware of what I'm about to say. It is related that the Hajj only deals with one who has made that journey at the Kaaba. But those who really understand, especially by us being more than the body and being more than the soul and being spirit, we understand that El Hajj in reality is this represents one that has completed that journey to their Father God of love. We call it fruition. This is so profound because, see, when the prophet said, every word, not some word, not a few word that I speak, spirit. Now, one has to ask himself, how is it that every word you are at one, you are in unity, you are absolved in the identity, in the essence of our Father God Allah, as the teaching says, Allah speaks to man Noble Ali. But we understand on the higher level that this was indeed our Father God Allah speaking to us from out the highest plane of wisdom, of spirit life, to us. So if this is a story dealing with a recording, the Akhet Khufu transliteration is talking about the Great Pyramid, which those who don't understand that the Great Pyramid is a symbol of the building of the perfection of man. And so the ancestors are talking about at this particular time, be a time when one will be born to come to Kemet to retrieve the first Haru and return it to our seed. Listen at this, to our seed who are buried under the hypnosis of. See, we know that Satan is also a representation of Satan, or that which divides, that which separates, that which causes confusion. And it even goes further. They even explain that when will this person be born? When Aquarius overtakes Pisces, this individual will be born. That's our beloved prophet overview. And I'm going to end it with this. When they go into the Pisces record in the old dispensation, and you go into the book of, I think it's, oh man, here's the name that he's like you. But anyway, I'll remember it. But this is what it is. The Father God Allah is speaking to Moses. And he's saying to Moses, I am going to raise them up a prophet like unto you. And they must hearken unto every that he speaks. Family, do your research. There is no other person that fits the description of the one being raised up like unto Moses. Moses was born. Prophet Noble Ali was born under in North America. Moses made a journey to discover and get the knowledge. And then he came back then to ancient Egypt. Prophet Noble Ali made the journey, right, to Kemet, to Egypt, and brought it back to modern day Egypt for our earthly and divine salvation. Is the grand magnanimous. Let me stop playing my feet. Thanks for letting me share, friend, and peace and love. That's in the book of Deuteronomy 15, verses 15 and 18. Islam.
Islam, brother. All right, brother Sean Washington there. The subject matter is Prophet Noble Drew Ali was given a high name in the East.
National Grand Happy Holy Day. Manifested Day. Sean Washington Emo Tut Rabel from the Michigan Consulate arise and give all praise to the great God Allah. Give all honor to Sharif Abdul Aziz, the last prophet of all time. Give all honor to the dead credit Moorish government. Give all honors to the divine constitution, Act 4 and Act 5. Wow, it's a grand measure. Well, the prophet, you know, he went everywhere. He went to Kemet. He went to Sudan. He went to all the kingdoms over there. He got the highest name because he went to study. He was doing all the research. He went to Mecca, you know. He stood in a circle. And that's why he got his name, is Ali. You know, he was the only prophet that came back into these Americas. And they still don't believe it. What I be saying to my Moorish kin, you know, they don't believe it. You know, it was no other prophet gave us, you know, he gave us aid. He gave us our nationality back to us. He gave us a government. He gave us a national flag. He didn't say the Moroccan flag. You know, I have not seen no other prophet but the prophet. You know, Sharif Abdul Ali, the last prophet of all time. He was a swift angel. You know, and I've been listening. This is a grand class. You know, and people, like you say, if people is criticizing this government, they want to be crusade, you know, and they cause the confusion. You know, it don't get to me no more. You know, it's all good. I'm gonna keep it moving. And like I be saying too, I'm not knocking the Moorish Temple of America. That's, you know, that's where you at. You know, I'm not knocking you. You know, we all came from the school of thought. You know, I was telling another guy that last year, February, you know, he was criticizing the government, and I'm like, no, brother, I'm not knocking you in the temple. That's cool. You know, that's where you at. That's, you know, he want to knock me. I was all right. You know, they you know, they're not looking at this government. We're supposed to have our own government. You know, you know, we always say this, you know, on our classes, every nation has their own government. They got their own nationality, national flag, you know, they got their own everything, you know, but we got to have our own government. We don't have it, you know, we don't have nothing else we can go to, right? You know, this is the only freedom right here. The prophet, you know, he gave us our blueprint, you know, he went around the globe. He was international, you know. Then, like you said, people keep saying he was a Mason. He wasn't a Mason. He had his hand outside. He had his hand on his I think it was his heart. You know, he didn't have it inside. You know, he wasn't a Mason. You know, people keep saying he was a Shriner. He wasn't a Shriner. You know, he the one gave us wisdom. We didn't have no wisdom when our forefathers was in mental slavery from 1700, 1800, you know, 1900, 20s, the 30s, 40s. You know what I'm saying? I mean, before the 40s and the 30s, you know, he came around 1913, and you know, he gave us everything. We would have been right now as a people, as Moors, we would have been messed up right now. He wasn't for the prophet. All the great works he did. He went to Kemet. He went everywhere, you know, and people still can't see it right now, you know. And you know, the Moorish Temple, they be criticizing this government. It's all good though, you know. It's cool, you know. Everybody, you know, I'm looking at people like inside these churches, and you know, I'm looking at like they might wake up, you know, they might come into this government. Even the Moorish Temple, they might wake up, you know. It's like, you know, it's an organization, it's a membership. You know, it's a school of thought. You know, we all went different paths, you know. And I look at it like this do you, you know, till you figure this out, you know, then you might come into this theocratic government, you know. It's all good. Peace and love, gratitude, powerful class.
Gratitude to you for the measure, brother. And yeah, it's nothing against our family in the MST of A. Family just have to realize when they, you know, do make attacks, like I said, and a lot of them feel like they defending the prophet, you know, based on who they've been taught by. But, you know, I say if one trace their lineage back to the 15 temples, they'll notice that they ain't in no position to be talking about what the prophet didn't bring and what the prophet brought. See, the Moorish American government is coming in on what we call the end time and fulfillment of prophecy. And that prophecy is Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated. He was going to lead a European here long enough to teach the Moors how to run a government. That's what we're doing. We fulfilling that prophecy. You see what I'm saying? So we following the instruction of the prophet. And so that means that our divine constitution unfolded from general laws into supreme law. You see what I'm saying? Our flag, unfolded, as it unfolded based upon the seal and symbol that the prophet brought. The prophet is the one brought that scimitar and star. Kirkman Bay didn't bring that. And the scimitar and star, as it relates, it got so much science in it. It really represents the Amduat, going back to Kemet, the Kafesh, the same Big Dipper that rotate around the North Star, the same star that the Moors used to navigate. The prophet knew what he did and was doing when he brought that symbol to us. You see what I'm saying? Kirkman Bay added a blue background to it. The prophet's was a white background. So the prophet's seal was added to what was already on the manifest. So the ingredients that deal with a red banner with a 5-pointed open green star, the prophet brought that. We can't make that up. So when somebody say the prophet didn't bring that, that's another measure where they wrong at. And I'm going to show this real quick briefly because we're getting ready to open up for our officials. This is important right here, coming from the same drawer. Like, we didn't leave no stone unturned when it came to this PDF. Like I say, I'm going to send it out. Y'all got my email. Just email me, and it's going to bring clarity to you. I'm going to go all the way down here because people always talk about the gestures. Like, even when it comes to the banner right here, for example. Let's touch it since we're here. When you look at that, when the prophet give his warning that you're going to hear me demonstrate as we close out, he even in spirit spoke the flag into the manifest in the warning. When he said, fair to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We for love, truth, peace, and freedom. You see it. And when these principles are violated, justice must take its course. The principles are here. When these principles are violated in this star, justice is going to take its course. That's the scimitar moving throughout the quadrants. 90 degrees per quadrant, 360 degrees. And so when we look at the elements, all of these are Moorish flags right here to the right, family. That's a white version with the Kalima Shahada in it, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, right? The white banner that was brought by, the Almoravids, the Almorabitun. And then you had those who were known as the Mohads, Al-Mohads, where the name Al-Mohadis, where I adopted that from. So there was a plain white banner. Then you had the scimitars crossed, which some people think these are scissors. To the right here, no, they're a cross scimitar. So these are the flags as they evolve as the Moors went into Mauritania, the Fatimids and so forth and so on, who had the scimitar. So the scimitar was the first symbol adopted by the people of Mauritania. And then later came the star that came from our ancient forefathers all the way back from Kemet. Harmony, truth, balance, right order, and justice, giving birth to love, true peace, freedom, and justice. So in the journey, when the prophet went to the east and went to Saudi Arabia, what is the symbol in their flag? A scimitar. So he brought that scimitar back with him on his way to the west. He stopped in Morocco and the star was there. So that's scimitar and star. So the scimitar and the star, is also a divine warning of those two nations, Morocco and Saudi Arabia. But they forgot who their daddy is. Had it been, exactly the symbols they use, the flag would look like you have it here. You see? But yet, and for those who don't see it, I'm showing the scimitar with the Kalima Shahada in it. But we have love, truth, peace, and freedom up here above the scimitar instead of Kalima Shahada. But the symbols are brought. You can't deny that. And also, this is not a Shriner symbol. The scimitar is indigenous to Islam. You see all these banners up here with scimitars and stars on them. Some of them got crescents in them. Here's a Moorish shield right here, with a scimitar and a star above it. You see? Yeah, we can't make this stuff up. It's always been ours. So down here in the end, you know, in bringing this thing to a close, for those who think, you know, that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was demonstrating Masonic gestures when he put his hand over his heart, go to the questionnaire. Where's the nearest place you can meet him? He was directing you to the nearest place you can meet Allah. See, Kirkman Bay was trying to demonstrate Masonic degrees. See how he marked his fez with the prophet symbol? You know, and people try to confuse that with Shrineism. And that ain't even a real crescent right there. Them Binga claws, that come from Queen, what her name? Victoria. It's a snare of the big game hunters, the Great White Brotherhood. And when Rome marked them fezzes and write on them, you know, they saying that they conquered you. You was caught up in their snare. They ain't giving no honors to Mecca and the Kaaba and Ali and Islam and Allah. When they write that on the fez, they saying they conquered it. They bragging and boasting. You see what I'm saying? But if you don't, you know, accept your head dressed in the European, or get up there and fingly rep it, basically saying that I conquered the Muslim, I conquered Kemet. In the last Shriners demonstration that they just founded in North Carolina, the Prince Hall, guess what they call it? The Ali Shrine. It was founded like a few years ago, 2020. I wonder why they call it Ali. You know, so these things that you claim are Masonic was in Kemet, like the Shinti, which they call the apron. It's called the Shinti. You see that Kemetic deity with writing on the Shinti right there, actually showing warfare on the Shinti. Yeah, that go back to Kemet. You're talking 2,000 years old. Y'all get a European too much credit. You see what I'm saying? We got to stop it and claim your own and stop giving it to Rome. So here's the symbol, the hand clasp and all that right there. You see that? You see the Kemites sitting down, holding each other's hand with the clan clasp for unity. Not only the hand clasp for unity, the two brothers here with the sister holding on the brother's shoulder. Similar to when we give the marriage right, the sister hold on the brother's shoulder, you know. And then you see the sister over here coming to greet. She got her hand and she greeting with right over left, just like the prophet demonstrated. You saying that the Shriners invented that? Huh? And you see the confess right there too. Now, the hand clasp for unity. So you saying that this come from Rome when it was demonstrated in Kemet over 1,000 years ago. See how the prophet sitting down right here, you know, in his seat of power. Look at the brother sitting here. The same way the prophet sitting. Same way, hand right over left. Stop giving Rome all the credit. Here's Keti, an Egyptian scribe. Look at it. Demonstrating exactly what the prophet demonstrated. You're an idiot if you continue to say that the prophet was a Mason because he demonstrated that when he told you he was Egyptian adept master. You see, and we ain't trying to be funny or mean, family. We ain't trying to talk down to you or nothing. But, you know, we got to make it plain. Stop giving the European the credit that belongs to our people. See there? Oh, he had a sash on. You know, that come from the European. Look at that. They demonstrating the sash with their hand up because they tried to say that was a measure too, with the prophet standing out, you know, in front of the Moors. You know, look at that. They honoring the jet pillar. That's a measure of adoration, family. That is not a Masonic degree. Like, I mean, I don't know what to tell you if you believe anything else after that. You know, and even when it comes to the headdress, got nothing to do with no shrine. You see the Libyans, which are the ancestors of the ancient Mari, you see that headdress he got on look just like the prophet's pagri with the feather coming up out of it. We can't make this stuff up. You see the Fulani people right here, the same tribe that the other brother, the Moor, was. I was showing y'all earlier, Ibrahim. Look at them. The Fulani still wear the feather in their turban. You see it back in Kemet right there down at the bottom where they got the feather of Ma'at there. I had a brother tell me real angels don't wear feathers. I say, well, when you go into, the rim and your heart being weighed against a feather, is that spiritual or physical? He's saying ain't no feather when you leave the body. But anyway, so, there it is again, same thing. Sash and everything. The garb that they got on, come on, man. There they go again. The Leviticus, feathers in their head dress, same God, they got the sashes on and everything. Identical. So when they talk about the prophet God, don't no Shriners invent that. The prophet say he got that God from the government. He wasn't talking about the United States government. Show me a European God like that when he say he got it from the government. You see what I'm saying? Like, we can't make this up, family. They copied us. So Islamism without the schism. Let me stop sharing this here and go to my officials. Islam, we want to call on if the sister there, Sister Offset Moon there. Are you there, sister? All right. What about our National Grand Mufti, Dr. Khonshu Mark, whoever will be? Islam, you there, Grand Man? And got me stirred up over here. Go.
Worship and praise to our Father God, the great God of the universe, the most beneficent and the most wise. And we give the highest honor that we can give to his prophet, our prophet, the last prophet in these days and in these times, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, El-Haj Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, the savior of humanity. We give honor to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honor to his government, our government, the Moorish American government in which we live, according to Acts 6. We give honor to the officials of this state government, our divine ministers, our swift angels, a mufti, our royal council, our secretaries. We give honor to our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honor to our flag, our divine constitution and bylaws, our Holy Quran, our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, our Book of Fire, the Exhumed of a Nation. We give honors to everything that is Moorish. We give a special honors to you, National Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shadu, Maybe Chef Shuel, for hosting this grand Holy Day service this evening, part of our Holy Week. And we give honors to all our Moorish kin who have spoken before us, to our Moorish kin that will speak after us. We give honors to you, angels. We continue to give the honor where the honors are due, and honoring all true and divine prophets. Us leading the way. We are them today without doubt or contradiction, because no one has the right. Praise the Lord for that, I know. Name is very important. You know what? Not only people call you, but what you answer to is very important. You know, and that's something that our prophet taught us. He was holding on to brand names, the Negro, Black, and Colored, and that these ain't the names of your forefathers and foremothers. You know, God never created Negro, the Black, or the Colored. And so it's very important to understand not only who you are, but what you answer to. You know, when you answer to slavery or chattel property, that's what you're going to get. That's the kind of condition you're going to get. And when you answer to the name of your forefathers and mothers, or when you answer to the name of the God given one, that's what you get. You get divinity. You get some kind of inheritance. It's very important. You know, if you got an inheritance from your parents, then it comes down through the name. It doesn't come down through something else. The bloodline is what secures it, but the name is more important because that's what is put out there in the ethers. And so when we look at the prophet understanding that, and we can look at his name, you know, the high name, Abdul, means a servant. And the name donates to devotion to God. And so, of course, why doesn't that sound just like our prophet? One of the servant is devoted to Allah's plan, Allah's will. Right? You know, it says that Abdul has a deep religious significance, emphasizing Muslims' complete submission and service to God. Popular across the Middle East, North Africa, parts of Asia, due to the spread of Islam, they say. So you start to see this. This is where the lessons come from. So, of course, this is where the name going to come from. And then you know, if you look at the Ali, you know, the high, exalted, sublime one, you know, part of the attributes of Allah. You know, we look at that one who has submission to Allah, one who is devoted to the God, and one who has been elevated by God, supreme, exalted. All these is where the Ali comes in. King of Kings, the champion. These are other meanings for Ali. Abdul Ali, Sharif Abdul Ali. When you look at the odds, of course, you know that's the triple one makes. Sheikh, yeah, definitely we call him the Sheikh because he got the highest role. He got the highest role for the nation because that's where the Sheikh comes in for a nation, and that's what our prophet brought, a nation. The Sharif, yeah, the lawman, the lawgiver. Abdul, dealing once again with that servant to God, lead the most exalted. So if you look at all that put together, you know, this is why he demonstrated that. And so when not only does when one is calling him and he answers to that demonstration that he's accepting a certain vibration and vibrating at a higher tone, but he's also expressing to the world who he is, or who he knows he is. And so that's, you know, that's a powerful demonstration. It's an understanding that we all gotta have. You know, I remember when I first came into knowledge of self, and you know, at first one thought the slave name was just the name that came with the last name. You know, and that's the slave name. And then the prophet showed us that no, it's them Negro, Black, and Colored, these titles that are the slave names. You know, those other names are the names of the free people, as our chairman talks about. But it gave me understanding. Well, I looked at it as, you know, the name everything that we are received from our parents are the hopes that they have for us. You know, they give us names with certain meanings, and these meanings are the hopes that they have for our lives and for what we stand for. But there's also names that you got to give when you come into knowledge of yourself and you realize who you are. You got to express to the world who you are. You know, not just who they think you seem to be. But when you know the self, that you are the one that's going to truly name yourself. So the world was, you know, not only what you want to be called, but what you will answer to. I remember transferring my thought pattern and being the name that my father and my mother named me to the name I chose for myself. I took up Sabe, and my parents would ask me, well, you know, what? And I explained it to them. This is who I am, teaching others knowledge every day, oversight and honor of God, obey the governor. So, you know, it has a meaning. And so you answer to that, and then the vibration goes through your body through and through. And so when we're looking at our prophet and his, you know, he's transmuting from carnal to divine. He's transmuting the Timothy Drew, the mere man or physicality into, you know, the true hopes and dreams and the ordination of Allah. Now, Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. Noble Drew Ali. And that's so wonderful because this is what we need in this day and time. This is why we celebrate this, not only this manifestation day, but this Holy Week. Because Allah sent one. And we know because of, not only because of his name, but because of his prophecies and how they being fulfilled, being and are still being fulfilled. And so we honor that, and we honor the name one gave to us because he understood his purpose and his calling. Some people may never get to that point, at least in this lifetime. But for those who do and get to understand that it's the importance of what you called and what you answer to, you know, the blessing is there. One be thrice blessed. And so this is where, you know, as we look at our divine constitution, and we look at our Holy Quran, we look at why the prophet is the only one still to this day out of all the nations of the earth has came and claimed us as a nation of people, has claimed us as a people, period. Why everybody else is standing back, not saying nothing, and just waiting and looking. That should tell you, ones, that we're not from their nation. We're not a part of their demonstration. And we have our own demonstration. And this is what was brought forth, and praise Allah for sending the God, man, the love thought, the prophet, the angel of Allah to send us, bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah. Because this demonstration definitely is a saving power. And I've seen it work in my life and in others, and it can work in yours. So happy Holy Week, Moorish Americans. Honors to our Grand Sheikh Emeritus, Dr. Sarabat bin Rael. Gratitude for your time, attention, and respect. We love you. Islam and peace.
And Islam and peace to you as well, National Grand Mufti. Want to give honors too to our National Grand Sheikh Emeritus celebrating this Holy Week with us. You know, and also, you know, honors to all of the Moors who reached out in the past for me to give them a high name. You know, and what I always did when giving one a name, just like with myself, I draw from the attributes that the name had already been given, you know, from one's parents. That's why, you know, you will see our sister Dendra Nia Curta Bay. You can see how it branches into what it is from, you know, her original name. You know, and that's how I always honor that particular demonstration myself, you know, and even with myself, same degree. But and the matter of fact, we want to, and we're gonna do this moving forward. We're gonna be calling on our sister Dendra Neal Curtis Bay, prior to calling forth the Grand Mufti, and because she is the assistant national grand acting assistant national grand secretary of the state. I'm gonna try to call our sister forth now prior to going to our national grand secretary of the state to see if she have something she want to add. If not, we'll go to our grand secretary of the state. You there, Sister Dendra Neal Curtis Bay?
It's wrong. Close as love talk.
Yes, no.
Gratitude, God, man. Dr. Dendra Neal Curtis Bay, first, blessed holy day, family, blessed holy week. First, let me rise and give praises to God Allah. I give honor to our holy prophet, which you are me. I give honor to Act One. I give honor to all my government officials. I give honor to each and every one of you. And God, man, I really, really appreciate you calling on me because I wanted to get in, but I was so excited. But it don't take long to tell the truth. And this class tonight has been so powerful. And I recall some of the things that you said tonight. We did go over some of these things in our EOS class, and but it was just so powerful, such a blessing. And please, I tried to send your text in there on the call to please send me that PDF because I definitely want to have that in my notes. And but this is such a powerful class, and all I have to say tonight, family, is stay strong, keep the prophet out front. The prophet say, if you don't believe that I'm a prophet, watch my prophecy. And if you lose confidence in him, see, I love the prophet. When I first met the prophet, I didn't have none of the teachings, none of that. And when I first met him, I was in love with him then. And I'm still in love with him now. And I always got him out front. I listened to his teaching, and I know he got me. And so stay strong, family. Get into this government. Use your talents for this government. Don't just sit on the calls. Give your measures. And call headquarters and say, what can I do? What can I do to help you? What can I do for this government? Don't ask what the government can do for you. Ask what you can do for your government. Because this is a new year. We going into 2026. And it's time, like our Grand Sheik say, our National Grand Sheik Emeritus always say, it's time for boots to be on the ground. It's time out for playing now, family. We got to get busy. Gratitude, God, man, for calling me forth. Peace and love.
Gratitude for the measure, sister, and honor to all the new Moors that have been coming in, getting ready for them 16 secretary. Islamism without the schism. Yeah, we making it true and plain. And so anybody that want the PDF, just email me at egyptianadept@gmail.com, like you see it in the chat, and I'll reply with the information. So at this time, let us call forth our National Grand Secretary of the State of Moorish America. One half of Cherubim and Seraphim. Our Grand National Secretary of the State, Sister Shepsut Rakat Ma'at and Pooh, Tutankhamun Bay. Happy manifestation of the Prophet's Day, Goddess and Queen, and week.
Jerome Lee, the last prophet in these days and times. Angels, muftis, divine ministers, most especially our Moorish kin. Giving honor to all those Moors that spoke before me, all those Moors that will speak after me. Giving honor to our new Moors online and our family online. Giving honor to Friday, the holy day for all Muslims all over the world, to our Moorish Holy Week. Just a grand occasion, and this has been a powerful and very uplifting class. We want to give honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Aku Haru Jehudi Bey, for opening our meeting according to law. To our Consul General of Texas, Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter for the week. The Rapist Amin Ra El, working with our prophet from the soul plane, Ascended Master, and giving honor to Act One and to our host instructor for this class this evening. Fingers were inflamed trying to get all of these notes down. It's been a powerful this evening, definitely coming from one high, Dr. Shaheed. Our subject matter, Prophet Noble Drew Ali was given a high name in the East. Then we also had, I was given a high name over there. You cannot use it over here. Be good Moors, and I will hand it down to you. And we recognize our prophet was an Egyptian over there in the East. Yes, the geographical location, but I was also looking at the East being the center of consciousness, you know, recognizing that source of divinity. And when we look at the fact that the thought that came to mind was that, as you stated, it's not in a position to use. So one can have a high name all day long, but if you don't know how to use it, this is where it takes constant study. And we see that our prophet was divinely prepared by our Creator, our Father God Allah. He was recognized by the sages, the gurus, the Mahatmas, etc. from the East. You know, he was prophesied. You know, we can see that also in Revelation chapter 10. Clearly cut. And so the degrees that the prophet mastered and conquered, these are the things that he showed us the way to be able to do this as well. We have to be able to take these lessons and make it applicable to the self. I was also, because I had so many thoughts on this class, and gratitude for that powerful presentation. Some of the photos I did recognize, especially when I was early into Moorish science. I can recall a brother, and I think I've spoken about this before, Dr. Direct photos of the prophet's work, you know, dealing with the school, hospital, and the various healing sessions that the prophet had and things of that nature. You know, oils, teas, and compounds. And it's one thing to be what you're told. It's another thing to be what you know. You know, and that's the degree that each and every one of us, you know, down throughout the ages, I've heard on so many occasions, prophet didn't bring that. I'm sitting there saying to myself, how do you know? Where were you? And, you know, when you do the research, you know, that's nothing but confirmation, because the prophet is the only one that brought us the truth about who we are, what our nationality is. And also, he said, I brought you the title to your vast estate, your birthright, nationality. What do I have to do? Kill you? You know, all of these things that we have been searching for over 500 some years. And then when it is given to us through our Creator, our Father God Allah, we still want to deal with doubt and I don't know, or maybe perhaps, and hesitation and things of that nature. When you see, you know, the very house that supposedly is looking at you as a piece of property falling, and you still don't want to muster, you have to build it from scratch. All you got to do is go back in mind to the land of fleshless things. And the prophet said, here it is. All you have to do is take it and save yourself. So I was looking at this high holy name. We're dealing with being able to recognize the degree of self-mastery. the elevated state of consciousness. When we look at being a mastermind and the degrees having been mastered, so this is how when you open up and speaking about the Sora also is dealing with degrees of unfoldment or steps, and the IS are the signs. And this is what we have got to do when we're climbing, whether it's the 3-step ladder of salvation, belief, faith, fruition, or whether it's that 12-step ladder. All of it starts with the mastery of self, dealing with sincerity as the first degree. So we're speaking about also spiritual authority that has been bestowed upon our prophet. This is coming from our Creator. He's the one that brings forth nations and also smites nations. So when we, again, to put limitations on our Creator, that, Muhammad was and that we don't sit here and try to limit the infiniteness of our Creator, because this is also the source of divinity that we come from. So look at that higher ascension, and as we are able to solve the fix and constantly go through unfoldment and spiritual maturity, then we are given other titles and stations that's between our Creator and ourselves. This is why when we look at the prophet was given a high name. Be good Moors, and I will hand it down to you. I look at that as having divine revelation. So we're able to communicate with our prophet because he is working in our best interest from the soul plane. So this is just demonstrating to me profound wisdom from on high, and being able to recognize the virtues and the attributes and talents that we have been blessed with. And this is also a custom within our special nation, that when you name someone, even if it's dealing with yourself, you are trying to ascribe to those attributes that you are bringing forth as far as your name is concerned. So this is why it's critical that we no longer see the necessity to cling to these degrees of Negro, black, colored, or whatever man-made terminology has been applied to us as a people, because now we recognize and stand founded on that one free national name, which is Moorish American. So this has just been a grand class, a powerful degree. Much gratitude to you, Dr. Shaheed, for all the work that you do and the wisdom that you bring forth and teaching our people. And we're not asking for no $10,000 per 30-minute demonstrations. The prophet lets us know these lessons are free, and one's nationality is free. All over.
Islamism. Yeah, the people that like to keep secret, Grand Secretary of State, they get mad because we give them up free. Yeah. They think we supposed to have this stuff here in the archive somewhere. And speaking in reference to, a lot of people don't know that name, Sharif and Ali. Them two titles right there. One actually shows that one is a descendant. If you have those two names, one, Sharif, showed that one is the actual descendant of the bloodline of Muhammad, and the Ali actually shows that one is a descendant of Ali, who was a cousin and we can say son-in-law, so to speak, because he married Fatima. So a lot of people don't even know that. If you got that name, people automatically know that you are descendants of those individuals, which we are, most of us. If we got a Moorish bloodline, we are actually descendants of, the true Cushite Muhammad and Ali. So people don't know that, but our bloodline go back and is more pure than that of the Arabs think they are. Goodness gracious. Well, all right. Speaking of the bloodline and the purity, man, let us call forth our grand national chairman of Moorish America, Dr. Akin Acton Pert M. Heru, Tutankhamun Bey. Islam, you there, grand man? Oh man, goodness gracious. I done jumped back in my previous station. I apologize, Brother Jehudi. You know, we transmuting over here. But let me call forth my beloved National Assistant Grand Sheikh, Dr. Jehudi Bey, Islam Grand Man.
Honor to our Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We give honors to the Moorish American government, honors to all officials, Act 1, honors to our Grand National Flag, Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem. We give honors to all Moorish Americans here, there, and everywhere. Honors to all those who spoke for me. Honors to all those that will speak after me. I give honors to you, Dr. Shaheed, for his powerful class this evening. And I tell you, I can hear our Grand Sheikh, Dr. Serapis, the Moonwell Al Menders. He probably, right now, I can hear him saying, ooh-wee. Islam. And a happy Holy Day family, and happy Manifestation Day, happy Holy Week. Islam. It's been powerful class, Dr. Shaheed. And due to time, I'm trying to make this brief. It's Islam, with title of class being, pull that up real quick. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was given a high name in the East, and title, I was given a name over there, but you can't use it over here. We could more, and I hand it down to you. Islam. And, as powerful demonstration. As you were speaking, I was thinking about mastermind, how our prophet didn't realize at the time that he was a mastermind, but Allah did. And being sent over to the East, Egypt at a young age, at 16, and having no parents, no guardians to, that were with him and to, protect him. He was sent to the sages to answer some questions, and knowing that because he was prophesied to be the seventh angel, Islam, and after he answered those questions and was sent into the Sphinx, and where ones would they didn't if he wasn't pure at heart and mind, he wouldn't have made it out, but he came out unharmed through the door, and to the delight of all those that were the keepers of the gate, and when he was given the name Sharif Ali, he was the prophet, and praise Allah that when even as we travel through our journey, Allah already knew where we were going to be. Allah already knew that we were going to be mastermind in our own government with our own flag, still an emblem. Allah already knew. He already prepared the way for us, as he did for Sharif Ali, the prophet. And when Ali went put on the Hajj, and the Sultan, who I think is Sultan Abdul Aziz Shah, yeah, I think I pronounced that right, who was a direct descendant of the ancient Moabite pagan. When the Sultan went on the Hajj with Ali, he was so impressed with him that he ended up giving Ali, their family name, Abdul. And, hence the prophet was named El-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. And the title given to him, not just by Allah, but from those with high rankings in government in Egypt, it was an honor. It was something that had never been done before and since. For our prophet to be sent to us and having gone through the things that he went through, not knowing what was going to happen to him, and given the keys to understanding and knowledge and wisdom to bring home to his people, to help save us that have been denationalized for hundreds of years. This was such a blessing from Allah to be able to have the faith in one man to do all this. Allah already knew what was before him, and for us as Moors and gods and goddesses, it's an honor to have the prophet as a guider in our lives. Giving us the principles, giving us the government and each other, and becoming masterminds on our own, Islam. And it's just a complete honor to be in the same family of masterminds. And our journeys have been, they may have been different. We may have not gone on no Hajj, but we are told, and we've become knowledgeable in the fact that our Hajj is within Islam. That we can go to Allah anytime we want once we go within. When we give honors to our prophet for doing what he had to do to be able to become that one with the great God Allah, and being a prophet to so many, those that hear and those that refuse to hear, those that understand and those that don't understand. The prophet will always be the guiding light to freedom. Islam, and his high name is something that has to be honored, and revered, because we know how it came into fruition, Islam, and for the prophet to have done this at such an early age, and to be given the title of prophet at such an early age, it's just an honor. And for us to be here in this special time now, and having these laws and lessons given to us, it's a powerful thing to know that we are following in his footsteps and doing the work that needs to be done to continue the work that the prophet has started. And I tell you, Grand Man, it's such a beautiful feeling to be with one another, masterminds that are going to continue the work of the prophet, to unfold those dark places within the minds of the NBC, those that have been denationalized, to unfold those ones that have been disillusioned with organizations and oaths. These ones that they see the light, but they refuse to comprehend it. We're here to keep on shining that light. Islam, because this is what the prophet wants us to do. So praise Allah and honor to our prophet, and honors to you, Dr. Shaheed, for this. I tell you, another powerful class. We get honors to you, honor to the chairman, honor to our Grand Sheikh Serapis Rafael, Amenes, because I think you and the other leaders here in the Moorish American government, you have been so instrumental in creating not just masterminds between me and the goddess here, but masterminds all over this country, and at least I'd say all over the world, because we have Moors that are in other countries listening to the demonstrations that you and officials have done over the years. And I tell you, I give honors to you, Grand Man, for continuing the work that the Prophet has set out for us. Islam. Grand class, Grand Man. We love you. We love you, family. Happy Holy Day. Peace and love.
And Islamism to you, brother, is where a happy holy manifestation day and week, of the Prophet. And we give honors to you for all that you do, brother, on the front line. That which is love divine. And praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism, Sheikh. Well, all right. Well, since we done called our chairman already, we already know he ready. When we get to talk about this high name, goodness gracious. Come on in here, Chairman. Dr. Akid Acton, Pert M. Heru, Tooth to Come and Bake. The last of the adept to teach the adepts. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah. Savior nation. We got our own government, divine constitution, our own Holy Quran. We even got our own flag, Grand National still an emblem. And more than just a mighty, mighty journey. But now the thing about it is, the key to all this thing is we're also responsible, because we are of the everlasting of the past until the never in the days to come. We got a job to do, because we're the head of the nation, government, everything. Honor the blessing. That's why it's a wonderful thing just to look at the top of the line and say you got a divine constitution. It's just wonderful, Moors. So we just count your blessings. I'm so pumped up right now, I know everybody's up here with me. So Islam is without a schism.
Islamism without the schism. And we praise Allah for all the divine wisdom that has come forth from the tribe of endurance. And for the Moors that's out there listening, y'all better get y'all hand on that book of fire, the Exhuming of a Nation. It don't get no plainer than the truth. So Islamism without the schism. And we give honors to all of our Moorish kin, we're going to get into a continuation. We're going to go on up there, and demonstrate in our Moorish perspectives, a grand degree as well. So that being said, we love you, Moors. The portals of the Prophet's blessings and lessons are wide open at this particular time. All we got to do is listen to the silent voice that speaks within. So Islam. January 15, 1929. A warning from the Prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work in their homes on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your cards for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. When these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen, a group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government of the Prophet, violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their Prophet. If they lose confidence in their Prophet, they should turn to their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where the prophet found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. If the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we bring forth this divine decree. Chapter 25, a holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Yea, the children of one father provided for by his care, and the breasts of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother's in adversity, assist him. If thy sister's in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other. Go in peace, Muslims. Moorish movement, divine movement, everlasting movement. You and I tie Islamism without the schism. Happy Moorish Manifestation Week, Moors. We love you.
That's the whole week. That's right. New Year.
Say his name, Moors. Say his name. Say his name, Moors. Say his name. Say his name, Moors. Say his name. Islam Moors want to give honors to also our family out there in social media as well. Donato Basco from London, we give honors to your brother. You know, Born Dog, we give honors to you, Noble Brian L. Your Majesty, we give honors to you as well. Charles Warrior, we give honors to you. Eric Darez, you know, who that is? Maccabeus Divine Trust, Atham 7922. You know, A Bay, K, I think that's 7OL, Tarif Bay, Rise, Natal, look like that. We give honors to all of y'all. See y'all in the next cycle. We'll be back tomorrow. Islam. Peace and love. Say his name, more. Say his name. Peace and love.
You are. Good time.